Hi my friends, it's Michelle from Tape and Twine. Welcome back to my channel. I am jumping into day 3 of the DEPHEMEREMBER, again said wrong, December daily, hosted by Barbara at 49 Dragonflies and Louise Henza. Now, yesterday when I was watching Louise's videos, I noticed she said that this list was designed with a theme first and then the ephemera second. Now, whenever I've done one of these challenges, I've always found these two things, you know, like a woodland animal and then a seed packet, and then I've put them together, and I always assumed I'd be altering the seed packet, just like I altered a paint sample yesterday and I altered a playing card on the day before. But she's actually making each one of the ephemera things by hand and showing how you can do that if you don't have these items, which I think is a great idea. So I won't necessarily do that for every prompt, but I think I'm going to do the same thing today and actually make my own seed packet. Even though I have a few in existence, I'd rather make them from scratch. And I think Barbara did the same today. So if you are new to paper crafting, then you might not know how to make a seed packet. And if you're not new, you're like, well, this is an easy thing. I don't need any tutorial on that. But I thought it might be valuable just to take a moment for those who are new to just say you can get templates for seed packets online for free everywhere. Just Google seed packet template free and you'll find them. And a lot of times they're on gardening blogs because they're trying to encourage gardeners to save their seeds. And they might look a little bit different, but they all kind of have the same shape. They have, you know, a fold, they have 3 flaps, and they have rounded corners on the top. Now I'm going to make mine out of music paper. And what I love about making coin envelopes and seed packets is it is such a great scrap buster. So all those extra papers you have laying around on your scrapbook page packs, maybe there's some, you know, papers that you don't care for as much. These are great ways to use up big chunks of paper and something you can mass produce fairly easily. So what I like to do is I'm going to cut off this bottom since there's so much. It's just like plain paper. And you don't have to pre-measure a side, which is another thing that I just love about it. And I want my seed packet, I think, to be, do I want it to be fatter or thinner? Well, based on my animals, I think I'm going to go fatter. So all you do is you fold and make sure you give yourself a flap. Okay, and I'm going to show you the most beginner way that I've done it, just so that if you are a beginner, you can get it right the first time. Because sometimes, I know for me, it's hard with folding and cutting to remember what I'm supposed to fold and what I'm supposed to cut. So you're just going to fold it in half with this little flap here. So you're not folding it evenly. You're making sure there's a lip. And then you're folding the top and the bottom up and down. So you're folding the top down and the bottom up. And the top is the bigger flap. This is the smaller flap. Then you're going to open it up. And what I like to do, especially when you're new, is I like to give myself a cheat sheet. So if I look at my template, I can see that the flap sticks up here. And I'm not going to need this top piece above the fold. So I'm going to put an X there with my pencil. And then I can tell I don't need the bottom. So I'm going to put an X there with my pencil. And then I'm going to see that there is a diagonal here and a diagonal there. So at the fold, I'm going to put a diagonal down. And then I'm going to put a diagonal going across. Well, I have to see where the lip is. Let me just mark where the lip is. So then I'm going to make a diagonal that goes here. And then up here, I can see that this is going to be rounded corners. And then there's going to be a diagonal that goes down. Now, if you've done this before, you don't need to do this. But if you've never done it before, it kind of helps you go fast and kind of think, okay, I know what I'm doing. So I know I'm taking this flap off first. And I know I'm taking this flap off because I have an X there. So see, I don't have to think about it because I've pre-thought about it. And this is something, you know, when I'm working with a new template, I do just so that I'm not trying to figure out as I go. I've made a diagonal there, so I know I need to cut a diagonal there and here. And then I know I need to cut one here. And I need to go up straight. I'll just cut this off. Okay. So the only thing I'm missing is the curve of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this and line up the corners. And I could either come in with a corner round punch like this. But because I want it to be more like a seed package with a more exaggerated curve, I'm going to do this by hand. And by cutting both corners at once, you make them even. Ta-da! So now that is basically our seed packet, and it looks just like the template. Like this and like that. So then the only thing you have to do is decide if you're going to put the fold on the outside. I need to cut this a little straighter. If you're going to put the seams on the outside or glue it so you don't see the seams. Now I want it to be like a traditional seed packet, so I am definitely going to glue it on the outside. And you could ink the edges of this if you wanted the edges to stand out just a little bit more. I didn't fold that in enough. And that is a seed packet. I mean, super, super easy. I don't think I folded that in. See, I didn't fold that well enough. Let me just redo that. That's better. And that is your basic seed packet. So, now what? Well, I wanted to have a bunch of woodland animals. So I have this book, The Animal Atlas, and I think it was a book my kids had. It's not particularly old, but what I really liked about it is that each environment around the world is separated out, and then there are all these pictures of animals, and they're a perfect size for cutting. The paper's not too shiny, and I simply went to the Woodland page and got a whole stack of animals to work with today. So I fussy cut out a few of them. I didn't think I needed to do that on camera. And the other thing I did off camera is I also made some other coin packages, not coin packages, seed packages, out of different kinds of paper. All different shapes and all different sizes. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to do, actually, why don't I do it now? I had an idea for two really interesting seed packets. So why don't I do that so that we have the option. The first one I thought was a piece of vellum. Now vellum isn't always easy to work with, but I thought how fun would it be to have a seed packet that you can kind of see what's inside. So I do want to give that a try. So let me quickly cut that and see if I can make a seed packet out of that. Doesn't always fold. Vellum doesn't always fold really nice, but we'll see how this goes. Okay, so there is my seed packet. Vellum can be really hard to glue. So in this particular case, I am going to use double stick tape. I think that that will just be a better option for for vellum. So I'm going to stick a piece here. And I'm also probably going to follow up with a little bit of art glitter glue. A great little stocking stuffer is this needle weeding tool. I don't know if you can see it. It's not focusing. It's got a very, very, very good point, and it helps get the backing off of like stickers and double-sided tape. My face, because I can't see. And I will put a little bit of art glitter glue too, just in the corners, because it does dry clear. Here I go again. I'm going to cut something sticky with my scissors. I think vellum needs a little extra something with the double stick tape because it's so, at least this one is very, very stiff, and I feel like it could come apart quite easily. All right, there's our vellum seed packet. And see, you can see through it, which I think is really cool. So I have a variety of seed packets to start with. Oh, I have one more idea I have. And I'm not going to do all of these on camera. I'll do one on camera and then I'll show you them all when they're done. But I had one more kind of fun idea. Let's see. Let me get some scrapbook paper. Okay, my idea was, and bear with me, I'm going to make a fairly thin one. Well, it's not that thin, it's just that I'm making it more of a tall rectangle. And my thought was, how fun would it be if there was a window on the seed packet? Now, it's hard to punch a window because you can't get, you know, things punched out from a punch. You can't take a punch and go in the center of something because there's just not room. But if you have a die, if you make it thin enough, you can. And if you have a die cut machine, you can make that shape anywhere, or you can just do it yourself. If you trace that shape, you can cut the shape out. So we're going to try that and see how it turns out. I'm kind of excited about the thought of it. And I won't do all these on camera because this video would take way too long, and I don't think anybody wants to tune in to this for that long. But I can at least show you the process, and then you can see what you think. Maybe you'll want to give it a try. Okay, so the window could be done one of two ways. It could be punched on the front of the seed packet, and you could put a tag in there with a woodland animal so that it peeks out. Or my thought was you could put it on the back. You could put the woodland animal on the front and then have a little peek of something that's inside, which is, I think, what I'm going to do. So let me just finish this. Oh, no, I can't. I have to punch this out. So I have, let's see what I have in my punch. I have this punch, which might be interesting, but I don't know if I can get it in the center. I can get it in the center, but it's going to be on the low side. But you know what? Since this is just a sort of a play around, let's just do that so that you can kind of see the process. I'm not going to waste time trying to figure out where I'm going to put it. Let me make sure it is in the center. I'm going to do that by simply making a light fold that I can see when I put the paper in. Let's line that up, and I think I can get it in the center. I'm going to punch it out. And then I'm going to take a little piece of plastic from, you know, who knows what, stickers, or it's just packaging plastic that comes with, you know, that comes with any number of paper supplies. I'm just going to cut a piece out. And I'm going to glue it on the inside so that there's a window. And you could also use vellum for this. That would work well, and it would be somewhat opaque, which might be really pretty cool. And I again would use double-sided tape because whenever you're working with something like plastic, or, you know, making a window, it's very hard to glue it, keep it in place, and not get the glue on the window. And you really don't want to do that, because obviously you don't want anything making that window cloudy. And I'm going to take my clear cellophane, and I'm going to put it on one side first so that I can pull it tight. And I'm going to go across and have it stick. And you want to make sure there's no other sticky parts, because you don't want this paper to stick to the side. And see, there's your little window. And now I can finish gluing. I'm going to make this flap a little bit smaller because I don't want it to go over the window. And as you can see, this is pretty close to the bottom. But like I said, you could hand cut a window higher. You could use your die cut machine. There's any number of ways you could make that window go exactly where you want it to be. I need to trim this right here on my diagonal. Okay. And you could even put, you know what? You might want to put a scrap of some kind of neutral paper in the background. Like, for instance, this beautiful old 100-year-old paper that's too brittle to fold, but it is amazing for collage. I can put that behind the window so that it's not so white. I'll put some art glitter glue. See, I'm not even measuring it or making it square. I'm just putting it down like that. So if you can see, it's just sticking inside that pouch like that. And now I'm going to fold this over. And look at the little window. Let's get make sure nothing is sticking. And look at the little window here on this side of the seed packet. I think that's really cute. So we still have the front to alter. So why don't I start with this? Actually, why don't I start with this seed packet, since we've already started with this one. And then we'll go from there. So I know I don't want this to be so white. And since I've used that paper already, why don't I just cover the flap with it? I don't know if this piece is big enough. The thing about this paper, I absolutely love it. I bought a bunch of volumes of books from, oh gosh, what's the date on it? It's 120 years old paper, something like that, from England. and it's just beautiful. Everything in it is gorgeous. It's a literary like annual, but it's so brittle that you can't fold it, but it makes the most amazing, look, I don't even have to cut it, I just rip it. It makes the most amazing collage paper. I can just trim the last bits. So now I like that. I like how this matches what's on the inside. And I could have covered everything inside, but why bother? I'm going to ink this just to give it a little bit of vintage style, like that. And now we have the front to collage. So I'm going to look for my little woodland, oops, sorry guys. I'm going to look for my little woodland animals. This guy's a little bit too big. So is the fox. But I got this little guy. He's kind of cute. So he's obviously going to, you know, be lost on this very busy print. So I'm going to take just a plain paper bag, and I'm going to rip just a piece of paper. And this is the same quality as masking paper, which I know a lot of people say they can't get in Europe, or at least they can't get in the green variety. But paper bags work just as well as masking paper. And I'm just, you know, getting a shape. It doesn't really matter what the shape is, in my opinion. Just enough so that this little guy is going to stand out. And like I said, I really want to do this December daily with Christmas in mind, making ephemera for gifts, cards, happy mail, whatnot. So I really want to make sure that I give him a Christmas feel. So let's, I'm going to ink him, because I always ink anything that I fussy cut, just to kind of blend in the white. And I want to bring in that Christmas feel. So I cut out some poinsettias, and I can layer some Christmas elements behind him. The other thing I did is I am a sucker for collecting things out on my walks, and I like to press them in books, and I also have a microwave presser, which works really well. And I have like these mushrooms and this moss, and I really wanted to get some greens in there because this is supposed to be woodland. And I want to, of course, add some Christmas elements to it, but I also want to include probably a mushroom. And I have some mushroom stickers. But you could also fussy cut out any kind of mushroom as well. And maybe I will use fussy cuts, because I think that will go better. So my fussy cut binder. I can't fit it in frame. I get to my mushrooms. So this is one of my favorite mushroom books to fussy cut from. And I think what I want to do is have a red mushroom. Because it's Christmas, I'm trying to make this a little bit more Christmassy. So I just want a pop of red. So let's see if we can find a red mushroom in this book. They all seem to be brownish. It's not very red. A lot of oranges. Oh, there's a red. I saw red. It's a little bit orange, but it will work. I'm going to cut the smaller one out. I am a huge mushroom fan. I forage mushrooms from the woods. I only eat about 4 or 5 that I trust because it can be quite a dangerous thing to do. But I also love making art with them, and I just love it. Okay, so I have some elements I want to incorporate in my little woodland collage, and I think I also want to maybe incorporate some paper as well, because this paper is used on the other side. Sort of carry that theme, and I think it will also add a little bit of contrast. I like the number sticking up. And once I have a rough idea how I want to do it, I just start layering. So first I'm going to lay down, I'm going to also ink it. But you know, the chances of me laying this down on the bag and then laying that brown paper on top and having it work out is very low. So what I'm going to do is actually glue this to the back of the brown craft paper. I know I want my little guy like this. So I want this probably to stick up like that. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back, just enough so that I can figure out how I want it, and then I'll stick it. And then I know I want this down here. So I'll stick that like that. And then I might want a little bit more just around the edges. And then once it's all in place, then I'll glue the whole thing down. I just know that there's no way that I would ever line that all up. Properly. Okay, so now I can put glue on the back side. And see how this paper, it's so fragile. Just like that. I can even like rip a little bit of this off right there. Okay, so I know I want my little guy here. I must have had this over a little bit, although I don't mind his tail going around the corner. So I need to have a little bit of texture behind him. So I'm going to want the mushroom. I'm going to want a little bit of moss. I really love these. I love how like 3D it is. So I just have to figure out how I want the items and then glue them down. So I'm just going to speed this up a little bit because it takes a while to get this little collage put together. But essentially what I'm doing is trying things out, and I would say that you kind of need Fabri-Tac or some kind of beacon glue to put the natural elements down, because, you know, they're not paper or they're not paper or fabric. They're not laying flat. They need a really good adhesion. And I'm trying to put the mushroom here, and I end up having to move it after, you'll see, because it just is sticking out too much, and it's keeping the other papers that are layered on top of it from making good contact. So I'm going to try to glue it here, but you're going to see in a minute I'm going to end up moving it. And like any other collage, it's just trial and error of moving things around and seeing how it feels. It's just very intuitive. There's no right or wrong. You just sort of go with your gut and try to layer as it makes the most sense to you. And I'm adding my mushroom. I just inked it. And that's my dog that's growling in the background. Probably add another dog walking by. And now I'm just adding down the little mouse, or whatever he is. I think this is a English woodland, like a Europe. So this is not a little critter that I have in my woods, so I'm not 100% sure what he is, but I think he's some sort of like field mouse or something like that. And I'm adding the little poinsettias. And now I'm going to finish with that mushroom again and make sure that I get the Fabri-Tac on all the different parts of the edge of the mushroom so that it has really, really good contact with the paper. And I actually also crunch it down a little flat with my finger just to make sure that it's really making a connection with the collage, and then I will be done. So I'm going to let you just watch the end bit of that, and then I will be back. I'll see if there's anything else I can add that will make it wintry. Maybe a little bit of white splattered paint would make it look like snow. We'll let this dry, and I'll finish this one at the end of the video. Let's go to the vellum and see how that works. So here's our vellum, and I had this idea. One of the things I really like to do at the end of a holiday season when I'm taking my decorations down is I go through all of my Christmas cards, and I harvest anything from the Christmas cards that I think I might be able to use the following year when I'm crafting. And I had this Christmas card, and it has this element here with ribbon and holly. It's kind of a 3D. It was glued onto this card like that. And I thought it might be really cool. I have this little hedgehog that I found, and I thought he looked so adorable right in there like that. And I thought, wow, that would be really cute on this vellum one, don't you think? It fits really nice. I actually didn't pre-plan that at all. I was just going through my items that I took from my Christmas cards, and I think we can really alter this up really quick. So I'm just going to add some ink to the edges. I was going to take this off this back piece, but now, since it fits perfectly on the vellum piece, and you could do this with any Christmas card, you could just cut the front piece of a Christmas card off. Let's say you had a really beautiful Christmas card that had some illustration that was gorgeous. You could just cut the illustration out into a square or a rectangle, and you could mount it on vellum as well. How cool would that be? So I like that. So let's glue that on. I'm going to use a combination of double stick tape and glue, just like I did before, because like I said, vellum can be a tricky material, and I want to make sure that this sticks. I do have very good luck with art glitter glue and vellum, but it's more the messy factor, right? Okay, let's get some some more glitter glue on there. And before I glue this, no, I'm fine. I'm thinking if I cut it shorter, more of the vellum would show. But I really do like how I'm just going to place it more to the bottom, I think. That way, whatever I put in the vellum envelope will show more. And I'm going to place that down. Really make sure that it's on. Now, I got my little friend here. I'm going to put him in so he's just sticking out of this little decoration, and he's going off the page. And I'm not inking him because I don't mind the white around him on this particular case, because there's white around the pieces he's sitting in. I want him sticking out enough that we can see him. And I'm going to glue down these pieces, these little holly pieces. I know they're 3D, but I don't want them breaking off. So this is really just a combination of a Christmas card, a fussy cut, and a piece of vellum. I feel this is not staying down, so I need to make sure that I put more glue right here. Hold that down. Now I definitely know we need something down here, some more elements to really break up that red. But I do want to ink the edges of this vellum. I think that will look good. I picture how beautiful this would be in a journal with a really, really pretty botanical piece of paper inside. Okay, I think I need to hold that down a little bit more. I like the screen plaid. I think it goes well. I'm going to use my pinking shears just to see if that edge would look neat. It may not, but we will find out. So do I like it flat or do I like it with the edge? Let's see. Let's try them both on and see what we think. There's just the regular. And I think I like that at the bottom with the little edge. And you're probably saying the opposite, but I can't hear you, so I'm going to do what I want. That's quite bossy of me, isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to glue that on. I almost feel guilty doing this one because it is so easy. That's really cool. So now in the back, I think I might want to do something with this lip because it's a little bit too plain for my taste. And I could put a grommet or, you know, a circular like legal document thing here, but I think what might be nice is just to make a tab that looks like it's a little bit fabric, but it's actually not. Remember this cutout we did from the other one with the scalloped edge? That might be really cool to just put that on here, just to break it up a little bit and to make more of a closure. We could even put a little piece of Velcro there and a little piece of Velcro there so that it stays shut really easily. So let's glue that on. You can't, I don't think you can use Fabri-Tac on vellum, if I recall, because I think the chemical, first of all, I think it gets everywhere. And second of all, I want to say, and maybe you guys can tell me in the comment box below, I think maybe the chemicals eat through the vellum, but I'm not 100%. I just never use it with it. So we have our cute little tab there. And I think I will add a little Velcro to that. I just don't know where it is at the moment, and I don't want to hold us up. And maybe I want to add a little trim to the bottom here. Do I have any more of this that's long? I may not. I may have to, oh, right in front of me. I tend to cut once it's on, only because I am famous for having things off just a hair, and then it drives me insane. I'd rather cut once it's glued on, and I know for sure that it has made it all the way to the end. Okay, let's see how a really pretty piece of paper would look in here. Maybe something holiday-ish. I'll be right back. I just want to see how sheer the inside is and how it looks in the vellum. Just kind of give you an example of how you can take this very simple vellum seed packet, and by putting things inside of it, you can see what's inside behind it. Isn't that cool? And then you could layer gifts in here. Let's say this was going to be for Happy Mail, and let's say you just wanted to put in, you know, some little Christmassy papers, and let's say you were putting in some fussy cuts, you know, and some gifts. You could have them all layered up in this cute little package and have a little piece of Velcro there. And I think that's kind of a cool little idea. So that is the vellum seed packet. Now let's finish this now that this is on. I'm going to wrap the tail around the back side. Just like that. And that's a cute, I like that. I want to break this up just a hair. I would want it to be very plain because this is so busy, and it might be nice to have a really pretty edge. I don't have anything that scallops, or do I? Silly girl. I do. I just barely ever use them. So I'm going to cut a scalloped edge here. And that is very cute. And before I do that, I think I'm going to do that little white paint. Just enough to add that little bit of snow in there. Nothing too crazy. And then I can add my red trim on. Like that. And I am using up all kinds of things in my stash. I'm using up natural elements. I'm using scrapbook paper. I'm using background paper. You can really use a lot of things on a project like this. And then this bends down. really think that is adorable. It would be cute to have a little sentiment there, maybe. Maybe something that says Happy Holidays or Merry Christmas. I may have some washi tape with a sentiment on it, although I think I would prefer to have it. I'm going to just actually throw a piece of creamy paper into my typewriter. Just type Happy Holidays. On my typewriter. I love my antique typewriter. I just got it refinished. Refurbished, cleaned. I actually have a video about that if you're interested. I'm going to put that sentiment right down here. And I could do anything. I could put something about miracles or nature or a quote. But, you know, if you're going to give a gift card or send some happy mail, how special is that? I don't think do I want to wrap it around? Actually, I think I do want to wrap it around because I think what I'll do is, let me grab some of those little Tracy Fox labels I had yesterday. You just can keep going and going and going, can't you? Back, I definitely would want to add like maybe a little label, a couple labels that make it a little bit more interesting on the back. This is not completely dry, so I don't want to mess that up. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with my sticky inky fingers. I've made 3 or finished the 3. They've all done drying and I want to show them to you. I'm so thrilled with how they came out and they're all very different. The first one, we have the little mouse pocket that dried beautifully with the snow, which was just the paint splatter, the layered papers, the actual natural mushroom and natural foliage. I think it came out really cute. And then the little typed sentiment at the bottom. And then remember in the back, the pocket, I just added a couple labels that had red and green to bring in that Christmas feel and a little fussy cut peeking out of the window. It's loose, but I love how it looks in there. And, you know, you could glue it in if you wanted to keep it static, but I just think of the things that could be in and out of there. A tag, perhaps, that could be pulled out and put in. You know, the options, you know, they're endless. So that was our first one. The second one was the vellum one that, gosh, you can't get more easy. This probably, if you had a really pretty card and you were just adding a couple fussy cuts, you could make this in 10 minutes. And it's so effective. I put the Velcro on so it stays shut and you can see what's inside, which I really, really love. And then the third one you didn't see, I made this off camera. Same exact thing as the first one, just scrapbook paper and a layered paper and a fussy cut. And I have this ribbon that's like snowflakes with felt, and I just sort of snipped them to highlight the snow. I put natural birch bark behind and a label and made a little collage out of paper and the ribbon and some natural moss. I did a couple layers of paper so that you can actually, if you were here, you could see it, like there's like all these layers. And then I used a sentiment that was free in Artie Mays' group that she shared with us because I thought it really blended in with the whole nature theme. She is great. If you join her group, she does a lot of freebies, and this was one of them. And I just really love how they came out. I think they are great as little to put a gift card in or a special holiday letter. They would look adorable on a clipboard, hanging on the wall. I just love these, and I never would have done them had I not done the prompt. So thank you, Barbara, and thank you, Louisa. I loved today, and I might take a couple days off because I am falling behind at home and it takes a lot of time to make these videos and edit them and everything. But I will be back because there's a couple prompts coming up, specifically the napkin and tag, that I really, really want to do. I actually want to do all of them, but we'll see. Maybe I'll be back tomorrow. Maybe I'll do a video with a few in it. We'll have to see. But I loved spending time with you today, and I hope you enjoy the projects, and I will see you soon. Bye.